To my video on ratios. So let's review. You've learned ratios before. So let's see if you can come up with the blanks here. Ratio, a blank of two numbers by division. Comparison, so it's a comparison of two numbers by division. A rate is a ratio of two quantities measured in different units. And later on in the next note sheet, we'll be talking about unit rates. So equivalent ratio, two ratios that have the same value. Okay, how do you write ratios? You can write ratios in three different ways, and you're probably familiar with these. We have words, we have colon, or we have fraction. And when we're simplifying ratios, do not write as mixed numbers. This has no meaning as a ratio, okay? Because a ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division. And in a mixed number, we have a fraction and a whole number. So that is not a ratio. Okay, examples of ratio. So let's look at this example down below. And let's clear this. So you are shooting free throws. You make 20 and miss 5. Right? This is a ratio in all three ways. So I'm going to start with a fraction because that's the easiest way to simplify is from a fraction. So we're going to write 20 over 5. Okay, 20 makes to 5 misses. And what can we divide top and bottom by? That's correct, 5. And 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. And I know what you're thinking. 20 divided by 5 is 4, so can we just write 4? No, because a ratio is a comparison of two numbers, so we actually have to write 4 over 1. Now, in words, so that's a fraction. In words, it would look like this, 421. And with a, I forgot the comma there, and another comma, 4 colon 1 is writing it with a colon. Okay, now, the volleyball coach recorded the ratios of successful serves for 4 players, as shown in the table below. Andrea had 7 out of 10, Bren had 9 out of 12, Carrie had 12 out of 18, and Diana had 13 out of 20. Now, there's plenty of different ways that we could do this. Okay, we could change them all to decimals. Okay, we could also do it several other ways. And one way I'm going to show you is 7 out of 10. Okay, we notice we have 13 out of 20 here. So we could actually double both of these, and we would get 14 out of 20. So 14 20ths. Okay, so now we know that Andrea is greater than Diana. Okay, now Bren is 9 out of 12. We could simplify that to 3/4 by dividing top and bottom by 3. Okay, and we know that 3/4 is 0.75 or 75%, and we know that's greater than 0.7, 7/10, or 70%. So we know that Bren is greater than Andrea and Diana. So now we have Carrie, 12 out of 18. Well, if I divide top and bottom by 6, I would get 2/3. So write that down. And make sure you write all these down so you can see it later for comparison. And 2/3 I know is 0.6 repeating, which is about 66.6% repeating. So I know that 75% or 0.75 would be greater than that decimal or percent. So Bren is the greatest ratio. Okay, moving on to the next page. Okay, so we have several ratios that we're going to write and then we're going to simplify. So it says red to blue for purple made by mixing 24 ounces of red with 28 ounces of blue. So if we wanted to make purple, we could mix this ratio. So we want red to blue, so we're going to put 24 over 28. Now, what can I divide top and bottom by? Well, most of you are thinking 2 because it's even, but if it's even, then sometimes I can try 4. And in this case, 4 works. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 28 divided by 4 is 7. And it simplifies to 6/7. So the ratio is 6 over 7, or 6:7. Okay, a team with 60 wins and 90 losses. Write a ratio for the wins to losses. So I'm going to write 60 over 90. Now, you remember there's a trick here. If they both end in a 0, I can divide by 10. However, I'm thinking there's something greater than 10 that goes into both. And some people are thinking maybe 20, but if I count by 20s, I don't get 90. So then I'm thinking 30. If I count by 30s, 30, 60, 90, yes. So I can divide top and bottom by 30. And I get 60 divided by 30 is 2. 90 divided by 30 is 3. So the ratio is 2/3, or 2:3. Now, could I have divided by 2 and kept going? Yes, I would have eventually got to 2/3. But if you pick the greatest common factor, meaning the greatest number that goes into both of these evenly, then you only have one step. So I have one step here to simplify, and I have one step here to simplify. Okay, now wins to total games. So I have 60 wins. How many total games did they play? I have 60 wins and 90 losses. So hopefully you were thinking you add these together and you get 150. Now, since I know 30 goes into 60 based on this problem here, if I continue to count by 30s, let's see if we get 150. So 60, 90, 120, 150. So now I know I can divide by 30 once again. And 60 divided by 30 is 2. And 150 divided by 30 is 5. So the ratio of wins to total games is 2:5. Okay. Now we have girls to boys in the 7th grade with 300 girls and 250 boys. So the ratio is girls to boys. So I'm going to put girls on top, and the boys are the numerator. And now this ends in 00, and this ends in 50. So some of you are thinking, hopefully, divide by 50, and you are correct. So we're going to divide top and bottom by 50. 300 divided by 50 is 6. 250 divided by 50 is 5. So we have a 6:5 ratio. And some people are thinking, but that's an improper fraction. It is. But in terms of a ratio, we're going to leave it because a ratio is a comparison of two numbers, and we don't want to mix numbers. So we're going to leave it as 6:5 ratio. Okay, moving right along, we have a TV screen is 15 inches high and 20 inches wide. Write each ratio. So we want to write the height to the width. So the height is 15, so we're going to put 15 as the numerator. Whoops. And the width is 20, so we're going to do 15 over 20. Now, they both end, one ends in a 5 and one ends in a 0, so I can always divide by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. So this simplifies to 3/4. Now, the width to height is just going to be the opposite. So instead of 15 over 20, it's just going to be 20 over 15. So I can divide by the same number I did in the previous problem, divide by 5. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So now we have a 4:3 ratio. Okay, moving on to number 5. There are 30 students in a class, 16 are boys. Write a ratio for each of the following, girls to boys. Now, they only told us how many boys there are. But if there's 16 boys and 30 students, we can subtract the two numbers and figure out how many girls there are. So 30 minus 16 is 14. So there are 14 girls. So we're going to do...
Christine, a call on line 1.
Sorry for the interruption there. So we have 14 girls and we have 16 boys. And since these are both even numbers, we can divide top and bottom by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. So we have a 7-8 ratio, or 7-to-8 ratio. And now we want girls to all students. So we already figured out how many girls there are. There were 14. And we already know there's 30 students in the class. So we're going to do 14 over 30. Now I notice that both of these are even numbers. So I can divide by 2. And I know that 4 can't go into 14 or 30. So I can't divide by 4. So we'll stick with 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. And 30 divided by 2 is 15. So it's a 7/15 ratio. Okay, that concludes our review on ratios. I hope you have a great day.